give a like and feel like, yeah, I will be doing it next and have that dopamine rush. Yeah, this is the step that I will take, but they don't do it. At the end of the day, they
Yeah.
never get to the point that, yeah, this is something I learned about, but yeah, I have to do it as well. It's just that the brain convinces itself that, yeah,
Yeah.
we learned about it and we will do it, but they never do it. Hi, Dr. Widian. So, if I had to ask you one question today as to if everybody is doing something wrong with personal wellness, right, across the globe, what would that be, as per your experience?
Um, Hi, thank you for having me today. I think the one single misunderstanding or misconception regarding personal health and wellness is that it is a one done deal. People think if I start going to the gym, that's going to fix my problem, or if I change my diet, that's going to fix my problem. The truth about wellness and health and longevity, it's a journey and it is a decision you make every day. Most of the days, I don't expect anyone to
Mhm.
be perfect and doing
Yeah,
the right thing 7 days a week, but it is a journey and it is an effort and discipline we put every day in our health,
right.
whether that's physical or mental health. And we are determined to be healthy and to do good for our body, which people think of this more because it's often the source of frustration with health is, oh, I changed this thing, I still not healthy. Or in good days we do good, but then most of the days we are not sleeping well, we are not having enough time for love and connection, we are not eating healthy.
Okay. Now, if I could ask you, right, there's so many sources that people are taking information from, taking knowledge from, but where is this idea that one quick fix will solve all their personal health problems, right? Where is this
Great
coming from?
question. Yeah, I think we are in a fast-paced, instant gratification world. So we look at a video on social media and someone doing an exercise and having big muscles. We think that they did that for a day or a week, and that's where they get it. Um, and especially with the younger generation, I see that more. We are expecting quick results, and truly life happen in the process. Wellness is a process. Finding your purpose that ignites your health and your joy in life is a process. There is not a quick fix, but I think a big part of it is the fast pace of our modern life, and
Mhm.
it's fed by a lot of factors. But I think the online life and the
Mhm.
online presence feed toxically into this thought, unfortunately.
Now, I know it's just crossing my mind, right? You mentioned that our lives have become fast-paced and we've got social media and so many things. But life has always been, I mean, if you look at different generations, they always had something that they would call their own lives fast-paced, right? Either they had, I mean, day jobs which took their whole day or their whole life, right? And they came back home and just did their things, right? Now, why specifically call this up? You have your screens and everything where people are watching it and spending their whole day doing nothing, right? But then again, if we try to slow it down, what do you suggest people to do, right?
Yeah, so I will take this opportunity to talk more about the dopamine exhaustion, which is to
Right.
me is the disease of our generation.
Hmm.
So dopamine meant to make us feel good. It's the rewarding hormone. We work hard, it goes up, make us feel good.
Yeah.
Our brain register that working hard is good to get dopamine. Um, that's historically. Nowadays, with how the social media is designed, like short clips of everything, short parts of a song or music, everything is designed to fire our brain and flood it with this small hits of dopamine, which our body is not made to handle this. So the side effects of this is we are used, it's like drugs. Like you are
Hmm.
not supposed to feel high all the time, but you take
Yeah.
drugs, you feel high, you try to chase the next high. And that's exactly what dopamine doing to our brain. And then increasingly we become tailored to this quick
Yeah.
pleasure and instant gratification. And our brain, because it's saturated with dopamine, it doesn't like doing long processes, anything that takes time and patience. We become more adjusted to sending a quick text or a quick emoji rather than
Yeah.
calling a friend, making a plan to sit with them and talk to them. And our brain starts hating doing that part, hating exercising, hating cooking for yourself, hating sitting and watching your food. Because yes, that give you dopamine, but it takes longer time and it is a steady release of dopamine instead of this quick feeling of
Mm.
pleasure. And we become, there is a great book called Dopamine Nation. I recommend the audience check it out. It talks about it's compared the dopamine exhaustion to all other forms of addiction like alcohol or drugs, or sex addiction. And I think that is where the problem lie. We have to rewire our brain, and it's not easy. I always tell my patient, think about it like you are quitting a habit you addicted on to for years. So you have to do the abstinence, which we recommend 4 weeks. I
Mm.
start with a week, and then try to force yourself to do more meaningful, slow activities like walking in nature,
Yeah.
doing things with your hands. A good hobby engage 3 out of your 5 senses. So
Mm.
looking in a screen does not do that. You're just
Yeah.
listening and seeing, but then doing things with your hands like crafts or gardening or even cooking, and then being patient because it's like quitting smoking. You're going to be grumpy the first few days and you're going
Yeah.
to want to reach out to that phone and check it out. So I think a big part of trying to reset our brain and do a dopamine detox, we call it truly a dopamine detox, is to disconnect and try to fill your day with more slow, meaningful, slow release dopamine activities. And then after a while, our brain gonna be rewired and feeling better and back to the normal balance. Because what we are doing nowadays, being scrolling, this doom scrolling for hours and hours, is no good. Then after that, we go to the maintenance stage, which
Yeah.
I'm very aware everything is online. You have to check your emails, you have to do your meetings online. So there is no way you're going to go off grid and leave all electronics to be healthy. But then after the initial phase of trying to disconnect from social media, at least, we can go back. But we always talk about a maintenance status where you watch what you are doing, because we are
Mhm.
again can go fall back into the dopamine circle if we go back. So we usually, some of the techniques we recommend is having a day or at least 6 to 8 hours in the
Mhm.
weekend where you put your phone away, you don't need to use it, you are not working, and try to be busy with something else, something not screen or computer or TV. And then trying, we call it the digital sunset and sunrise, trying not to
Okay.
be on your phone the last hour before you go to bed and the first hour when you wake up. I think those are pretty much the most effective ones I've seen. Because if you think about it, looking in the screen before going to bed affects your sleep. You, all the light from the screen keep telling your brain stay awake, stay awake. So even you don't fall asleep as easy, and when you are asleep you don't have a deep sleep that's restful. Same apply to the digital sunrise. If you wake up, your brain is all cleared and clean, and then ready to start the day. And then you start scrolling, and you're
Yeah.
seeing this video and that video, and so you're letting all these random um, ideas and talks and thoughts going into your freshly ready brain to start the day, and that's it, starting your day with exhausting your
Yeah.
brain energy. So I think those are some of the strategies we suggest. They are not easy, and as I said, the wellness and healing is a process. So we got to give our body and ourselves some grace working through it. But
Mhm.
I think if you try this, you will feel how much helpful this in the long run, because you feel more energetic, less
Yeah.
depressed, more focused, a lot of newer generation, there is a jump in the attention deficit disorder. I think it is coming from this constant stimulation that we are getting
Yeah.
with being online so much.
Okay. Now, there's one thing that I mean, I want to expand upon, which you said mentioned was instant gratification, right? There's a whole generation that's grown up with instant gratification. Sometimes you have instant orders, you place an order, you get the hit, and then you get it, right? It will come. But
Yeah.
then we have, I mean, moving from this paradigm of instant gratification where you've just grown up doing this and your body is just used to the idea that I hit a button and I'll get a result, right? Uh, moving away from this, obviously you're right, right? It's like moving away from some sort of addiction. Uh, but when social media is so intertwined into our lives, right? Uh, what's one step that people should be taking? I mean, obviously, there's a whole process, right? As you mentioned, it's not one step and it will solve all your problems, but baby steps that we can take, right? What's the first baby step that you would suggest?
Yeah, so we talked about trying to do a digital
The digital
abstinence.
abstinence, yes.
Another one I like called urge surfing, which
Mhm.
I use a lot when we talk about anxiety with my patients. Because the urge to do the go online and scroll, just sit there and bug you.
Yeah.
I use a metaphor is it's like a little kid who follows you around and like, mom, 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 I want this. And the more you ignore it, the more it's become bugging and
Yeah.
conflicting. So you sit with this urge, like you sit this child down and be like, hey, I know you want to scroll and I want know you want to do something, but we are not doing it for the next 30 minutes. And you got to get
Mhm.
to find something else to entertain yourself. And I usually have my patients make a list of things they like to do. And they some of them will say like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, no, you know what to do, like
Yeah.
just. And there is even a strategy, we call it spaghetti strategy, where you try new things, like you've never done a um, knitting, or you've never done a scrapbooking or any crafty thing. Buy a kit and start doing that. So you make a list. If you have hobbies, I usually have at
Mhm.
least 5 different things. And when the urge to sit and scroll come, I tell my patients pull this list and pick something that you would do. A common one that's is easy to do, very available, very convenient, is going for a walk. So
Yeah.
put your phone away, go walk in nature, smell the air, look at the trees, feel your foot touching the ground. If you see a puppy or a dog or someone, say hi, look at them. So, like, try to be mindful in the moment. And having your phone is anti mindfulness, period. Like, no matter what you do, because it's going to take your attention and it's an easy, quick happiness. It's going to take away anything else mindful you are trying to do. So usually, yeah, having a list and the urge surfing, like when the urge hits, sit there with it, understand it. And I even have someone telling me, like, I can even, like, I forgot my phone home when I was driving and I almost got in a panic attack because I'm
Hmm.
halfway through the drive and I don't have my phone. So what I do, so I'm like, okay, let's practice urge surfing. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to check my emails. Yes, but you are on your way to work. You will have a computer and you can check your emails there. Or what if someone of my family called me? Like, is there is you are a kid? There is a kid might be hurt or a school, and they are like, no, we don't have kids. I'm like, okay, then you'll miss those calls. 8 hours later after work, you'll go home and check them out.
Mhm.
And then, like when we sit in that same exact thing we do with any irrational fear, we sit and talk back and turn the fears into an element that we can talk, or an item. And then that's exactly what we do with the urge surfing. And then we are calmed down because we're like, oh, it's not the end of the world. I can live without a phone for 8 or 10
Yeah.
hours. And then if you do that and you have a replacement hobbies or replacement things to fill your day, then scrolling, that is pretty much the earliest steps. Again, I don't expect someone who spent 8 hours in the phone a day all of a sudden in a week become
Yeah.
a not a phone person, but adding those small steps. And remember, any habits in the 3 months, if you constantly do it, gonna become a solid habit. So I tell my patients just show up. Like, yes, you have good days and you
Yeah.
have bad days where you are stressed, and the only thing you can do is don't scroll. Like, that's fine. But as much as you can commit to this habit changing and stick to it for 3 months, then eventually you will feel I'm less and less interested in just sit and doom scrolling, and I'm feeling happier. The happiness that comes from the process is a way deeper and longer and satisfying than the quick instant gratification. So eventually, when you pass the stage of just being addicted to your phone and have find your other outlets that is more constructive, more satisfying, you will feel happier. But it's a process. And I always say, think about it like an addiction. If you are addicted to something, you're not going to wake up next day and go
Yeah.
cold turkey and be fine. The people who go cold turkey more than 2/3 of the time relapse because it's not how our body work.
Right. Okay, now I was just reading a few things on the internet, right? That Gen Z and Gen Alpha, right? The ones who actually grew up, I mean, who were born after social media was became a
Yeah.
thing, right? So they are actually quitting social media and coming up, realizing the fact that yeah, this is actually killing them or killing their time, and they're going to coming to realize that. But as Gen X, Millennials, Gen Y, who have been using it as adults, right? They did not just be born and have social media. They don't, they know there were times before social media existed. They're still stuck, right? And this thing is going around on social media itself where people are talking about, yeah, you need to get off it and stuff like that. Isn't it counterintuitive? And we sit here and talk about it, right? Like we are doing a podcast, and this will go out on the internet, on YouTube as a social media, right? And then we'll cut clips out of it and then try to tell people that you should be getting off it. But then people look at it and give a like and feel like, yeah, I will be doing it next, and have that dopamine rush. Yeah, this is the step that I'll take, but they don't do it. At the end of the day, they
Yeah.
never get to the point that yeah, this is something I learned about, but yeah, I have to do it as well. It's just that the brain convinces itself that yeah,
Yeah.
we learned about it and we will do it, but they never do it.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I'm glad to hear I'm not aware of the new generation trying to come off social media. That's very nice. I like that. But I would like to say is the internet and social media is not the absolute enemy. Like there is so much good we can get, a lot of convenience getting education. How convenient is it to have a conversation where we are probably in two different places and two different time zones, and the connection, like how many people found their childhood friends or
Yeah,
long lost family member on social media. So I don't think it is the absolute enemy. I think the unfortunately it's very unregulated and very easy and accessible,
yeah,
that it's kind of so easily it could be addictive and so easily it could intervene with someone's life. So I think just thinking of it that it is a tool. I don't think like being off a grid is the solution
of
because
course, yes.
everything coming, like our finances are online, we shop online, we even doctor appointments. I had a doctor office closing and I called and wanted my records, and they're like, no, it's all online, like they don't give paper records anymore. So I think the convenience of everything being online is good, but we also, I think when it came out, it was sold as this is going to be the future and everyone going to be super happy and can
Yeah,
get anything in their pocket in a phone. And I think there is very a lot of truth to it, but no one at the beginning, at least, told us how damaging this could be in the long run. So I would tell the new that good for the new generations, thinking that is a good way to kind of step back and learn how life could look like. I think it's a very exciting experience
yeah,
for someone who never been off their phone. And then I think for adults and or more like Gen X and millennial and who are been had kind of experienced two sides of the world, I think just being very conscious about all the bad things that come with being doom scrolling and being hooked into your social media and your phone um, 24/7 is slowly damaging our brain. I would be interested in seeing studies and 20, 30 years from now, and how much this constant dopamine hitting our brain for hours and hours and years gonna do. So I think I would think of it as a two-edged sword. Like there's a lot of good to it, and it made our life easier and sometimes more fun. But if we are not conscious about how much damage is crawling into our life under without us realizing it, is
Hmm.
the next step is to um, think about it and take care of it. Now back to your question, someone watching us and getting the dopamine hit of like, yeah, that's great, I think I can do it. I think writing this in a sticky note and putting it in your computer or in your wherever a place you see every day. And if you can do it today, because there is so much deadlines and you have to be in your phone, or it's the holidays and you are stressed, that's totally fine. Half the battle fighting a bad habit is setting a good time to start. And it doesn't need to happen immediately now or tomorrow, but put a time and say, I'm going to just play this game and do a digital detox for a week and see how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I'm personally, and like I log off my social media for a few weeks, like at least few weeks every year. Oftentimes I log off a month at a time.
Okay.
And I think it just, and I feel it like when I start scrolling so much and spending so many hours, and I'm like, okay, I'm not in a good place and this is not helping me. So I log
Yeah.
off. But like even scheduling that, like the first week of June, I'm going to go offline. And then when you go offline and go back, it doesn't feel as appealing and
Mhm.
satisfying as it is when you are hooked 24/7. So nothing need to be done immediately. I like having this platform or all the other. We have a my practice have a page on Facebook, and we post about dopamine exhaustion and other healthy habits. So I totally understand the social media and the online presence could be
Yeah.
very helpful, but just be aware that it doesn't come without a price. And if you don't watch yourself, it's like eating bad food. Like you could start with one fast food sandwich, but if you do it every day, that's how your health gonna how that will affect your health.
Okay. Now, thank you, Dr. Widian, for everything that you just shared. But since you mentioned your Facebook page and you said that you talk about dopamine exhaustion on your page, for the audience, what else do you do? Because we've just been talking about you telling people to get off their phones, but what else do you do?
I know. An internal medicine physician in Colorado, and I founded a practice called Celestique MD, Celestiqu and MD. It is a concierge internal medicine clinic, and our model is trying to change the healthcare model by doing more personalized, preventative, proactive rather than reactive healthcare.
Mhm.
So we do meet patients for longer appointments. We talk a lot about lifestyle. I have in my intake visit, we go over how many hours you sleep, do you have friends, what's food you eat, how much caffeine you take, how many ounces of water you drink. So we are very heavy into using lifestyle changes to help with health. I still prescribe medications if they are appropriate, but we look into the holistic approach to patients. And our page is Celestique MD on Facebook, and we post weekly a lot of educational material about different health issues, in addition to how to use. I have a post about what's the apps that's good for your life. So, because we are in our phone, if we are tracking our sleep and our
Mhm.
water intake and exercise and making sure the food quality we take is good. That is another advantage of having that access and the convenience of having everything in your phone.
Right. Now, just that lifestyles came up, right? And we're talking about health. Now, as far as I understand, a lot of diseases and problems with health just come up because lifestyle is an issue, right? If I had to ask you, what's the one thing that you're solving for 80% of your clients, what would that be? So that people get an idea, yeah, this is something that's very
Yeah.
common, right?
So absolutely, yeah. So lifestyle medicine is a a branch of internal medicine that believes that more than 75% of conditions we can treat by fixing lifestyle. And the five pillars of lifestyle are diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and love and connection, which is
Right.
very surprising to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then the one single thing, if I would to choose from the five pillars, and this is my personal opinion, I don't necessarily have studies to support that. I think is stress. Because if you are stressed, you don't eat well, you don't feel like exercising, you don't sleep well. So, and then a lot of people, if they are stressed, they withdraw from their friends and their family. So you lose your love and connection. So I feel like stress could contribute negatively to all other four pillars. And unfortunately, living the modern life we are living,
Mhm.
stress is a big element that oftentimes got overlooked, and it's really affect our life.
Okay. Yeah, that's true, right? I mean, if you're stressed, you're not eating properly. You mentioned it correctly, right? If you're stressed,
Yeah.
you're not eating properly. If you're stressed, you don't sleep, due to whatever reason. And if you're stressed, probably you don't exercise under the stress that I have so
Yeah.
much stress for whatever reason,
Yeah.
right?
And
Uh,
if we go to the molecular level of
mhm,
stress, like this is mostly symptoms, but if we go more granular into
mhm.
what stress physiologically doing to our body, it's raise cortisol, and cortisol meant to spike and drop and be high only in the fight or flight status. But if we are stressed all the time, our body gets confused that, oh, we have to be in the fight or flight. So having high cholesterol mess up other hormones that is important to our well-being, like thyroid or other reproductive hormone that affect our energy and a lot of other things. So physiologically too, like being under stress for a long time, slowly damage our body by turning on the cortisol and having it at high levels for longer times that's supposed to be.
Mhm. Yeah, right. I mean, I just heard that Gen Z and Gen Alpha just like to talk about having high cortisol because they got a bad assignment at work and they're like, oh, my cortisol levels are high. I need to take a break. That kind of, I mean, it's a running joke, but then again, who knows? Obviously,
Yeah, no, I mean, it is not hard to, even when we test it, it have to be tested certain time because it's meant to spike and drop.
yeah,
But having chronic stress is the enemy because we will
yeah,
chronically confuse our body that there's something wrong. Stay awake, stay in
yeah,
um, ready, and that is not. We meant to have 8 hours a day where we are awake and learning and moving, and then our body's supposed to slowly start slowing down in the afternoon, and by the time of bedtime we're supposed to be like our hormones are uh, like energy hormones are in a low level so we can relax and sleep. So there is a truth to it. I think we can't necessarily say, oh, you have high cortisol without testing, and but
right.
having there is like often studies about how the high cholesterol exhaust your adrenal gland, and because your bodies keep making it until it can't, and that's when people feel so fatigued and crashed. And unfortunately in the traditional healthcare system, because we are trained to treat the symptoms, not the root cause of the symptom, um, you see someone who have a chronic fatigue and we do their labs and they are fine because it takes a while for those numbers to reflect what's going on, and then
Yeah,
we tell them, oh, you are fine, it's in your head, and that's very frustrating. Or sometimes if the thyroid is off from the cortisol being off for a long time, we start treating the thyroid, but the problem is still there. So I think that is the beauty of the holistic care, as we look at the person as a full picture, And I think I chose internal medicine in particular because it looks at every organ of the body equally and try to kind of put a puzzle piece together to find what is wrong and try to help it. So I think it is like it's hard to say yes you have low high cortisol or this or that, but the being under stress, especially like steady stress for months and months, definitely damage our body.
Thank you so much, Dr. Widian. This was a great conversation going from talking about digital detox and now you're talking real, like you mentioned, right? Five pillars of health, sleep, diet, what is that? Sleep, diet, exercise, stress, and love and affection. That was actually surprising, right? I mean, people don't realize how important that is to having a healthy, balanced life. Okay, thank you so much for joining in on this episode of Your Lab Central. Before I close, how can people get in touch with you?
My office, I can give you the information to the office to put it here, but we have a physical office located in Centennial, Colorado, and our website is celestiquemd.org. If you visit our website, it shows all the philosophy of care. We believe that we are redefining the art of healing. Instead of just being physicians who prescribe medications, we have blogs on our website that talk about common health um, topics from GLP to osteoporosis to sleep to migraine. The website have all our information, the address and our email and phone number. We offer a free consultation for 30 minutes. So for whoever is interested and want to just come and talk to us and see what we do, we can meet and just go over things. And the office, we designed it in mind of very mindful of making it very pleasant. So we have a meet and greet room that is not a sterile medical, and then we talk for a while, and then we do the proper medical exam and the rest of the visits in a medical grade exam room. But yeah, the I would love to see people and talk more about this. And as I said, our Facebook page has a lot of posts that's very lifestyle related because that's our vision into how medicine is supposed to be.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vidian, for joining me on this episode of Your Lab Central. To the audience who's been watching and listening intently, if you liked what we talked about, do leave a like. The comment section is open for questions, suggestions, and any perspectives you might have to this. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe before you close the window itself. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, Dr. Vidian.
Thank you very much for having me.